Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to USEFP's short videos part of our free online GRE course. These videos will help you prepare for the GRE, which is essential to graduate level admissions in most universities in the United States and for the Fulbright Scholarship Program. I'm Amna Mahmood and I've been affiliated with the USEFP in various capacities since 2017. This session will be for GRE Verbal and this is video number 9 of 12 in this series. In this video, we will look at one reading comprehension passage that has 3 associated questions. So grab a piece of paper and a pen and let's go through the questions together. To quickly refresh what we learned about the structure of reading comprehension question types in video 8, there are 3 types of questions you will get on the reading comprehension passages. Multiple choice where you have to select one answer choice. Multiple choice where you have to select one or more answer choices, and questions that will ask you to select a sentence in the passage or a designated paragraph. Reading comprehension passages are drawn from material found in books and periodicals, both academic and non-academic, and are based on different disciplines such as physical sciences, business, arts, and humanities. So there will be instances where you come across a passage in the test that talks about content or subjects that you are not familiar with. When facing such questions, do not be discouraged if you encounter unfamiliar material. All the questions can be answered on the basis of the information provided in the passage. However, if you encounter a passage that seems particularly hard or unfamiliar, you may want to save it for the last. A few tips to keep in mind as you attempt the reading comprehension questions. Read and analyze the passage carefully before trying to answer any of the questions, and pay attention to clues that help you understand less explicit aspects of the passage. For example, try to distinguish main ideas from supporting ideas or evidence. Try to distinguish ideas that the author is advancing from those he or she is merely reporting. Try to distinguish ideas that the author is strongly committed to from those he or she advances as hypothetical or speculative. Try to identify the main transitions from one idea to the next. Try to identify the relationship between different ideas, for example. Are they contrasting? Are they consistent? Does one support the other? Does one spell the other out in greater detail? Does one apply the other to a particular circumstance? Okay, so let's look at the example and read the passage together. Reviving the practice of using elements of popular music in classical composition, an approach that has been in hibernation in the United States during the 1960s, composer Philip Glass, born 1937, embraced the ethos of popular music in his compositions. Glass based 2 symphonies on music by rock musicians David Bowie and Brian Eno, but the symphony's sound is distinctively his. Popular elements do not appear out of place in Glass's classical music, which from its early days has shared certain harmonies and rhythms with rock music. Yet, this use of popular element has not made Glass a composer of popular music. His music is not a version of popular music packaged to attract classical listeners. It is high art for listeners steeped in rock rather than the classics. So this passage generally describes how Philip Glass uses popular music in his classical composition and explores how Glass can do this without being imitative. Note that there are no opposing views discussed. The author is simply presenting his or her views. Okay, so let's look at the first question. The first question asks you to select only one answer choice, and the question reads, the passage addresses which of the following issues related to Glass's use of popular elements in his classical compositions? The answer options are, how it is regarded by listeners who prefer rock to the classics, how it has affected the commercial success of Glass's music, whether it has contributed to a revival of interest among other composers in using popular elements in their compositions, whether it has had a detrimental effect on Glass's reputation as a composer of classical music, whether it has caused certain of Glass's work to be derivative in quality. So take a couple of seconds and note down your answer. Okay, so one of the important points that the passage makes is that when Glass uses popular elements in his music, the result is very much his own creation. That is, it is distinctively his. In other words, the music is far from being derivative. Thus, one issue that the passage addresses is the one referred to in the last answer choice. It answers it in the negative. The passage does not discuss the impact of Glass's use of popular elements on listeners, on the commercial success of his music, on other composers, or on Glass's reputation. So none of the above four choices are correct. The correct answer is the last option. The second question asks you to consider each of the three answer choices separately and select all that apply. And the question reads, the passage suggests that Glass's work displays which of the following qualities? The answer options are a return to the use of popular music in classical compositions, an attempt to elevate rock music to an artistic status more closely approximating that of classical music, a long-standing tendency to incorporate elements from two apparently disparate musical styles. So take a couple of seconds and note down your answer. Okay, so to answer this question, it is important to assess each answer choice independently. Since the passage says that Glass revived the use of popular music in classical composition, the first answer choice is clearly correct. On the other hand, the passage also denies that Glass composes popular music or packages it in a way to elevate its status, so the second answer choice is incorrect. Finally, since Glass's style has always mixed elements of rock with classical elements, the third answer choice is correct as well. So the final answer here is a return to the use of popular music in classical compositions and a long-standing tendency to incorporate elements from two apparently disparate musical styles. The third question asks you to select the sentence that distinguishes two ways of integrating rock and classical music. So again, take a couple of seconds and note down your answer. Okay, so if you notice, almost every sentence in the passage refers to incorporating rock music in classical compositions, but only the last sentence distinguishes two ways of doing so. It distinguishes between writing rock music in a way that will make it attractive to classical listeners and writing classical music that will be attractive to listeners familiar with rock. So the correct answer is the last sentence of the passage, which is, his music is not a version of popular music packaged to attract classical listeners. It is high art for listeners steeped in rock rather than the classics. I hope this session proved to be useful for you. Please remember to check out our other videos in this series. To wrap up, I'm going to conclude with the main takeaways that we learned in this video.